Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to a special edition of Brickmania TV. It's been a while since we've had Dan here in studio, nonetheless with a whole bunch of models in front of us for Spec Ops bricks. These are everything releasing on digital instruction, so some of these are already available on brickmania.com, some of them are still yet to drop, but either way, we've got the man who created most of them here to talk to us a little bit about what's going on, because this has been a really popular month for digital instructions, and you can see why, because most of these models haven't been around in a long time.
They haven't, and they're also some of the most popular models we did,
right.
The most requested. Restock this, mm-hmm. and of course, it's in the rearview mirror, so I shouldn't say we don't bring stuff back very often, but because we do occasionally, but none of these things are available right now as they are. So get them while you can as instructions, because they're probably not going to come back in kit form anytime soon. There's just too much stuff to do.
The list is growing and growing. The suggestions, the builds, everything.
And the new releases for Spec Ops, they're already in the can. They're not going to be adding any more stuff. So yeah, wait till next Spec Ops month, probably next year.
Yeah, which will be very exciting to see. But obviously a lot of cool stuff sitting on the table right in front of us. Let's start kind of with the initial ones that dropped in the week. We'll kick things off with the Harrier and then just kind of start working down the list.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. Okay, so starting with the Harrier, how long has this been out of production, Dan? When was this actually a physical kit last time?
I think about 2018.
Okay.
There's an 18 on the back of the back of the helmet. I was thinking, it's probably about 2018. That's about right. It's been quite a while for actually all of these here. We did Spec Ops month, first time ever, 2017, 2018, somewhere in that time, and that's when a lot of these kits come from. We've done it. It's been kind of a recurring theme. So they're all in that ballpark age, about 2 to 4 years old now. So, I don't think there's anything even 2 years old. I think it's like 4. Maybe the last Little Bird came out.
Yeah, right. A restock or something.
Right, but I don't even think. I think it's been since 2019, maybe 2018, since any of these things have seen the light of day. And I'm thinking like maybe 2016 as some of these are older ones.
Well, no wonder people are getting so dang excited about it. I can already see flick missiles.
Yeah, on the Harrier. So that's pretty cool. I mean, this is still we were making all this modern stuff, but we were like still paying homage to the Lego ethos and the Lego the Lego ecosystem. So like, why not put some flick missiles on?
Heck yeah, bring some real firepower to this thing.
So it's still like it's still a kid's toy. Even though we are bigger kids. So it's kind of fun to put that kind of stuff on. We did get, funny thing is we did get a lot of pushback on it. So there's a lot of criticism leveled at us for not being realistic and it's like, oh come on, it's a toy. So this is the AV-8B Harrier. This would be the U.S. Marines version. This is it's I'm pretty sure it's retired now. It's if it's not completely retired, it's being phased out in favor of the F-35B in the Marine Corps forces. Marine Air Force. So. It's a cool little kit. Sliding canopy, I think, is great. Looks like we've lost the pilot to history. I don't know where the pilot minifig went, but the canopy opens. These display models, it's just funny because we're looking at this stuff. They've all been, either on display at the Mall of America, handled by a lot of people, display at GHQ. So, you might see some things that are missing some parts here and there, missing figures.
They've been all over.
Right. It's just because they have some history to them.
Well traveled, to say the least.
And when you see what you see here, even though some of the stuff is actually printed, you will actually get a sticker pack associated. It doesn't come free with the instructions. It's kind of an optional add-on. You have to buy the sticker pack.
You do get the artwork though if you choose to download the thing and then make your own stickers.
If you have a decent printer at home, you could just get some sticker paper thrown in there. It's not going to be the same quality as the stuff that we're doing on our big machines here, but still. You'll have, you can print it out, cut them out yourself with a pair of scissors, and you've got stickers. Doesn't usually come with the figure torsos and stuff.
Right.
And the reason for that is that we cannot come up with a sticker paper that will actually wrap around like a figure's arm or something to make that all-around camouflage. So we very rarely on these modern ones especially will include the figures in the sticker sheet. It's too hard to do. We can't make a decent sticker out of it, so we don't want to really pass on a sort of half-assed sticker sheet.
Absolutely, that makes perfect sense.
So,
sitting next to that, we have the Reaper drone.
The Reaper, the MQ-9 Reaper.
I think that's one that people have been very, very excited to see on.
Which is funny because as soon as we had it for a year and it was kind of like a lukewarm seller. We actually did get some like actual operators contact us and they were very happy that it came out. But it just sort of like fizzled out, and then It took a long time. I think we had to put it on clearance, which we don't normally do for
Wow,
anything.
yeah.
And then they all sold out. And then as soon as they sold out, I was like, oh, when are you going to make more? When are you going to make more? Well, so sorry, we never made more because the last maybe 10 or so took like months and months to sell. So.
But now there's an infinite supply via digital
Right,
instructions.
you can make your own. Everything that's on here, you can get yourself. There's not, there's no figures. There's nothing special. You could even change it from it was kind of another funny move that Brickmania is. We put the blue tip missiles on here. That means that they're inert dummy missiles. So the dummies at Brickmania put on dummy missiles. So if you're going to go hunting actual bad guys, you might want to put the yellow striped bombs and missiles on there. So
time to arm up.
Right. Well, this is what happens when the only picture you have of the particular model is like some sort of a promotional picture, taken at an Air Force test range or something.
Going quite literally off of the source material.
Right. And nowadays it's a little bit easier to get this stuff, but
back then.
Live and learn.
Exactly. And that's what we're looking at here. It's just kind of an evolutionary process of models. Next to it is a very figure-intensive build, but thankfully we've got all the required brick arms and various accessories you'd need to put this together. But when it comes to Lego composition, there's not a ton going on here.
No. This is actually the most. This is the first rigid hull boat, the first rig that we ever made. It's a little baby one, and it's based off of that Lego one-piece rubber hull boat. You can still get that on Bricklink. It's pretty easy. So this is kind of like the poor man's rib boat. All the figures are just all the guys in here are just black torsos. And I think the only piece that we didn't, either we printed it or maybe we bought them. It looks like one of ours. Looks like we printed those, but like the helmets or the heads were our old custom printed visors. We actually just put out a new balaclava hat, with goggles. It looks really nice.
Yeah, that'd be a great integration for something like this too.
I would nix these old ones. Don't miss the old ones because that new one is it's a 360 print where the goggles actually wrap all the way around the head. Get those. They're well worth the money, especially if you're going to build something like this. It's all stock stuff. Everything is out, either off Lego or the brick arms, we could get from Brickmania. And it's not like, there's not like perfect caliber or anything like that. So splurge on the cool upsell heads.
Yeah.
Another thing that if you wanted to get like a cheap figurehead, that would be a balaclava head. All the stormtroopers and clone troopers all have.
Yeah, sure.
They're all, when you rip off their head, and not all of them. The old ones just had plain black heads, but it is a black head with a face printed on the circle. So a cheap way, and maybe even have some stormtroopers that you wouldn't mind ripping their helmets off and taking their heads to put on your operators. So
get a little creative.
Back in the
with
day,
it all.
before we had the capability of printing, that's how we ended. That was our choice. Now that we can print our own stuff, we've sort of deviated from that path.
Very, very cool. Moving on from there, we've got a whole bunch of 4x4s, but let's start actually with that helicopter in the back because
this guy.
I don't know if there was a more awaited return for Spec Ops digital instructions than the little bird. Ever since this thing went out, people have been clamoring for it to come back, and now here it is, a chance to do it again.
Yeah, this is the AH6 little bird. It's in AH6 mode. We did do an MH6 version where you can take off the rockets, put on some Delta Force operators, and of course we would like to see some Delta Force guys coming back, and I think you might be seeing that soon.
Yes.
But you can get your little bird instructions. We're not going to make this kit for this a kit for legal
the foreseeable
reasons.
future.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're staying away from licenses we don't have making toys, but so many people have asked for the kit that we'll put that out and until somebody tells us we can't sell the instructions anymore, then we'll stop. But yeah, get the little bird while you can. It's a great little model, very sturdy, and you've probably seen about a dozen other companies making a similar model based on this one. But this was my first one. It's the evolution of my original one.
Yeah, the OG.
It's gone through several iterations. The much copied five rotor system. Rotor. Yeah, that was a mystery for so many people for so long. How do you do that? So.
Yeah, cool anecdote about this. The digital instructions included with here. The sticker pack is actually a double. So you pick up one sticker pack and you've got enough to build two little birds, which is pretty cool.
That's not bad. Well, you could do little bird, you could do some other.
Exactly. So if you want both those variants, if you're picking up the Delta operators, you've got a chance to be able to do that,
right?
Which is pretty cool. Couple of 4x4s sitting in front.
Yep.
I know that we've got. Why don't you just dive into whichever
Well, this
one you
guy
like.
here is the Wimmick. This is the
Okay.
British. This is like a, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. It's a Land Rover. It's basically Land Rover Wolf that they've militarized. The Wimmick stands for, it's a weapons kit. It's an upgrade kit, basically, for a stock military grade British Land Rover. And this one's dark gray. I believe the instructions, there's a dark gray one and a tan one. They're essentially the same thing. So if you buy one, you basically know how to do the other. It has I believe there's a corresponding sticker pack.
Yep.
That
Sticker
goes with
pack is universal for both of them, which is nice. We just did it on clear.
Oh, that's great. So you'll have to fit it out with your own British Army guys, but that's life. There's not like really super uncommon parts there. Lots of cool little brick arms. So the tan version is essentially the same thing. Obviously, it's just wherever it's gray, it would be tan in the other version. So if you're doing an Iraq War or second Iraq War or the Afghanistan interventions, the NATO interventions, that would be your vehicle. In reality, these things weren't there that long because they weren't considered really up armored enough. So they did actually, once territory was gained, they just sort of replaced them with something a little bit more heavy duty.
Yeah, because I can imagine this thing hitting an IED, it doesn't go very well.
No, it's small. It's like hitting an IED with your car. So
Yeah.
it's not. There is some armor, but it's compared to an actual purpose-built armored vehicle,
Right.
it's still essentially a Land Rover with guns all over it. So you are a big target. You better go fast, and that was the idea. The speed is the idea. Your offensive capability is your defense. But once you get into like sort of more occupation duty, it's not an ideal vehicle.
Right, makes total sense. Sitting next to that is the RSOV, correct?
RSOV, yeah. RSOV is a Ranger, is a United States Army Ranger vehicle. It's the same Land Rover essentially, but outfitted so it could be airlifted and used by the U.S. Army Rangers. So special purpose Land Rover basically. Here you see it. The original kit came with 4 Rangers, and for us that was some of our first like really fully printed guys. I mean, it was a big deal.
Cool.
When we came out with this kit, for us anyways, it was like we had to stop all production because we're gonna have to be printing these guys around the clock. It came with 4, and back in the day when we had just one printer printing all of our figures, one printer and one operator, it was a big deal.
Yeah, I bet.
It was a heavy operation. I love this little kit. It was a lot of fun to make and still is fun.
Yeah, both of those 4x4s are nice, solid options and a good way to, you get one. They're not long builds, so you can pretty much just jump on into it.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on to the Bronco. This is kind of a crazy aircraft because wasn't this supposed to be a replacement for the A-10?
Well, not necessarily. So the OV-10 was, OV stands for observation. So
Okay.
it's not really meant to be like a heavily armed aircraft. These came out in Vietnam. It is a very unique and very capable aircraft. This twin tail is twin engine, twin tail, and it actually, because of, let me pick this thing up. It has this really cool rear end that opens up this way. That they've actually done things like put a machine gun in the back there, or they'll have you can have Marines or Rangers, basically 3 or 4 guys sitting in there, and they can skydive out of there. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I pulled
Holy
the canopy
smokes.
up. So I'm gonna get this canopy put back together. Don't lift by the canopy.
Sound advice for pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, but it does open. I just wanted to show that feature.
Yeah, that's
off.
a cool feature.
It is a cool feature, and in the real world, I mean, it's more of a special operations aircraft. This OV-10, I mean, it's been retired from military service for almost decades. It came out in Vietnam, was used for spotting, all kinds of like, strategic purposes. It could land on like, unimproved airfields. It was really, it's like a bush pilot's dream. And they armed it. They did all kinds of things. Like they'll drop agents in with behind enemy lines kind of thing, because it can really fly places where other airplanes can't, and it goes further than a helicopter, things like that. So during the war, sort of the later part of the war against ISIS and stuff in Iraq, they needed something that could attack and support like smaller troop units. An A-10 is this huge, colossal airplane. They needed something smaller that could hover, that could get places where the A-10 couldn't. A-10's a jet; it moves fast.
Right.
This thing is a prop plane; it can move slow. It can hover around an area. So what they did is they took 2 retired OV-10s from NASA who was still operating it.
Oh, cool.
Outfitted him with all these crazy modern electronics and then put things like Hellfire missiles on it. So this thing would basically hover around where the special forces are operating and be an on-demand bomb delivery
Just
vehicle.
bring the firepower if they need to.
Right. So it could be operate because of the heavy duty landing gear and the specific arrangements of this aircraft. It can land in forward operating areas. It could do all these things that you wouldn't need this huge air base like you would for an A-10. Like I said, A-10's a jet. This thing is not. This is meant for like punishment. It's not really armored, it's not a real war fighter, but it can deliver the goods, it can get into places where otherwise you'd have no other alternative. Maybe bring in an Apache or something that's just maybe not appropriate.
Gosh, I had no idea that people jumped off the back of it. That's absolutely crazy.
You can fit like, I think 3 or 4 guys can parachute out of the back. So let's just say like you want to do some covert insertion into enemy territory, fly real low with this thing and just out the back, parachute opens. You don't even have to slow down or anything.
Oh, that is absolutely crazy. All right, 2 of them left. We have the Jackal first, and then we'll end with another one I think everybody is super, super excited for. But this Jackal, one of our tan models.
This guy here, it's M-Wimic, so it's the same concept of this Land Rover here.
Okay.
The difference being this is a purpose-built version. I'm pretty sure it's the same, sort of concept, the same sort of underneath it all. It's the same drivetrain, all that kind of stuff. But it's a purpose-built military vehicle. It took all the lessons of all the things that they wanted to improve off of the Wimic, off of the other Land Rover, and said, let's just build a purpose-built vehicle that fulfills this role. But it is everything that we don't like about the Wimic, we're gonna get rid of it and then we'll improve it. So the Jackal is a new vehicle. It's open top, that has this turret ring in the back. You can just see it doesn't. The resemblance is only there in like maybe size.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's kind of a crazy, crazy. Pull these side by side.
There we go.
The resemblance there. You got the same sort of firepower, but look at the way the gear is arranged. It's like such a more utilitarian vehicle.
And it looks just way more heavy duty.
Yeah, I think so. Look at the tires in the comparison.
Right.
So you've got a vehicle that has more of like that boat-shaped body. So if it hits an IED, a mine or something like that, it's going to be more mine resistant. It has an open top so they can all bail out if they need to. They're not encumbered by like opening doors, or other things that can catch onto your gear. So, and then it just has, all full-on utilitarian view, the utilitarian look to it.
Yeah.
So, M-Wimic, it's a cool little kit. These were used all over. As far as I know, they are still in use by the British military today. But it's definitely did its time in Afghanistan and Iraq too.
I love the minifig that's in the turret on this. They look like they're having too much fun.
Right.
All right, and then finally, the big piece of resistance waiting at the end of the month, the Chinook. Man, have people been asking for this to return in kit form, but at the very least, we're getting it out on digital instructions.
Right. This is my first mega helicopter attempt, and I think I pulled it off pretty well. It's durable enough, durable-ish. So I would love to get a chance to redo it, but there's really not a whole lot I would change except like minor details.
Sure.
This particular model was made after like the special forces ones, so it has all the extra electronics, the refueling probe, things like that.
Is that a minigun sticking out of the door?
I think so. We got an M240. This was pretty remarkable that we actually got. Was it a mini? I don't remember what's on. Yeah, there's a minigun on that side. I think the other side is an M240.
Okay.
It looks like it got pushed inside. Yeah. I mean, like I said, these things have been on display at our stores, and they've been handled and manhandled and not necessarily treated all that well. Maybe some of these may have even gone to other stores and been shipped back to us. So yeah, this is I don't know. It's a beast. It's a beast of a helicopter. We're gonna hitting the artillery shell.
The artillery shell. Yeah.
So the original did come with a Night Stalker's insignia on it, and everything that you need to make this helicopter. Personally, if I was gonna make it again, I'd do a black one.
Sure.
It just looks so much cooler in black, and you do see special forces operating in black because they do have the dark gray one here, and it's designed that the Ranger RSOB can actually fit inside of this thing.
Wow. So
in this case, you'll have to collapse down the roll cage. That's just the way the real one works too. So we did make a video. I think we made an animation of it, hovering on a mountaintop and
getting loaded up.
Right,
cool.
but We didn't actually show how to collapse the roll cage, but if you have both, you can figure it out.
That is awesome. But what a way to end the month, the Chinook.
Yeah. This was a fun one to do. I've seen people take this thing, and I've seen many versions of this helicopter made by other people in different colors, and I think, you know, if you don't want to have to look at the pictures and try to figure it out, getting the instructions will be a huge shortcut.
No kidding. Yeah, that is definitely a good way to do it. But that caps it off. What a month for digital instructions. So many popular requests, so many epic builds now available or soon to be available on brickmania.com. Dan, thanks for joining me, and all of you, thanks for watching.